Sometimes you just lose it, and you're frustrated with that, aren't you? Are you wondering how to manage your anger with your child? There are 2 thinking errors that will clear this up. I am so glad that you're here and that you're part of this positive parenting community here at Live on Purpose TV. A lot of you have expressed that this is an issue, that you lose your cool. That as parents, sometimes we're so frustrated with our kids that we get so angry and then we feel bad about it later on. This is something that Vicki and I have addressed at length in the Parenting Power Up. One of the things that I've shared in that course is that there are 2 thinking errors that cause the anger to happen. And the thinking errors belong to us, not our kids. One of my colleagues recently said, every problem that we have is a problem with thinking. I think he's probably right. And as we look at our own thinking, let's start with toddlers, little kids who are still in their early stages of development, and they're going around and doing what? Well, the kinds of things that toddlers do. They make messes, they disobey, they say no a lot. It's not your kid, it's kids. It's how they operate. Welcome to Earth. What's the thinking problem? Because your kid is probably doing what most kids that age would do. Now, I know there's some exceptions, but you can't really shock me or surprise me. After a couple of decades of clinical experience with kids and working with families, I don't think what's going on in your home is any different from what's been going on in other homes, probably for generations of time, with a few minor variations. Kids are doing exactly what kids are expected to do. Now, I know that it's not always what you want them to do. We'll get to that in just a minute, but this illuminates the first thinking error. Things are not the way they should be. Now, that's a thought, and it's a thinking error. To say that things are not the way they should be means that you have some expectation in your mind or in your imagination about how things should be, and this doesn't match, therefore this is wrong. That's the error. What you're observing is typically exactly what should be happening by law. Now, when I say by law, that sounds really strong, doesn't it? I mean natural laws. I mean principles. I mean the way that things are and the way the world is. That's all I mean by law. Because we're thinking that things should be different than they are, we have a violation of our expectations, and that triggers anger. Anger, frustration, resentment, those types of feelings are typical for times when our expectations are violated. What would happen if you were to adjust your expectations? Wait, Dr. Paul, can I do that? Yes, you can. You can change your own expectation, and how would it feel? If you completely 100% expected your child to do that thing that you've been getting angry about, this changes you, not your child. So we're going to practice this a little bit. And before we go there, I want you to know that you're changing your mind. Your changing of expectations has the best and highest likelihood of influencing your child to change his or her behavior. But that's not why we're doing it. We're simply putting ourselves in a position where we don't have to experience the anger and the rage and the frustration and the upset that we get when our expectations are violated. So practice it this way. And just try this. Humor me, okay? Try saying, things are exactly as they should be. In fact, say it right now. Things are exactly as they should be. Now, how did that feel? Besides goofy, I mean. It feels kind of good, doesn't it? I mean, if you were to really believe that, how would you feel? Practice it and see what happens. Here's another one. I could have expected that. Now, what can I learn from this? Try that one. Practice that a little bit. Oh, here's another one. What is there to love about this? Now, you're used to getting upset, right? And angry and tipped over. You're practicing a whole new direction. What is there to love about this? My daughter-in-law is really good at this. She sends us videos and pictures all the time of our little grandkids doing what kids do that might sometimes upset a parent. But instead, she finds in that mess something to love and to cherish and to share, which we really appreciate as the grandparents. Now, I told you that there were 2 thinking errors that cause us to be angry with our kids. The first one is the violation of expectations, that this is not the way that it should be. The second thinking error is an incorrect conclusion or a negative conclusion based on the behavior. It usually looks something like this. Oh, what kind of parent lets their child... Do you see the conclusion? What kind of parent am I because my kid is doing this thing? What does it mean about me as a parent? And then we draw a conclusion that somehow we're a bad mom. We're a bad dad. What if that's not the only thing that we could conclude from this? This question has the potential to save relationships. Try it on. What else might this mean? Now that stops your thinking long enough that you can take a look at, hold on, what am I concluding from this? And it's either I'm a bad parent or I have a bad kid. Either one of those are negative and unhelpful. So instead of concluding that, we're just going to scoot that off to the side for a minute and ask the question, what else might this mean? And then let your brain work on it a little bit. Oh, it might mean that my kid's being a typical kid. You think? Yeah, good likelihood of that. It might mean that we get to keep working on some things as a family. Yeah, and when is that going to stop being true? But it takes those negative connotations out of that, and it probably doesn't mean what you think it means when your kid is misbehaving. So ask the question, what else might this mean? Sometimes the best parenting skills really have to do with what's going on inside of us as parents. Vicki and I have teamed up. We've got your back. We've created the Parenting Power Up. Come join us. If you want to feel more confident as a parent and have the tools that you need to keep a cool head no matter what your kids are doing, that's what we're all about. ParentingPowerUp.com. If you haven't connected to that yet, please click on the link right over there or down in the description below, ParentingPowerUp.com. Come join us. If you want to feel more confident as a parent and have the tools that you need to keep a cool head no matter what your kids are doing, that's what we're all about. ParentingPowerUp.com.